I'm about to weather a Fearless body shell from the Bassett-Lowke steampunk range. That is how it starts, as black with silver dry brushing. I've already sprayed my model with white primer. The reason I'm using white primer on this model is to create a different effect. I'm going to use a different set of weathering powders. These are the colours I'm opening, a variety of earthy colours and also black. There you go. And I think they're creating the sort of look I'm after for this particular low coat. And first off, I've left the cab black with its dry brushing detail, as I like that. I'm going to put some yellow on here first and just see if I can change the colour of this low coat to a sort of more muddy colour. Now, although this is yellow, of course it takes on and mixes with the colour underneath. So already we're getting a sort of fleshy effect, really. That is the sort of colour I want for parts of this low coat, a sort of browny, muddy colour. So I'm starting off with the lighter tones, and then my plan is to go on to the darker ones. I'm still leaving some areas a little bit white, a little bit whiter than others. So perhaps the terrain this locomotive travels through is more sandy, and this is either a camouflage or part of the colours it's just picked up as it travels. Now I'm going to add some orange. This is more of a orangey colour. It is called light rust, I think. Put this in some of the crevices. I've been using light rust quite a lot, actually. Okay. I'm going to go to some of the smaller weathering powders I have. These are darker colours. Now I'm going to use some matte coat and also some water mixed with the weathering powders. So first of all, I'm going to mix some water with this particular colour. This is track brown. And what I'm trying to do here is use it as a sort of wash and just get into the crevices. As soon as you put this on, I take most of it off again as well. And I'm just using a tissue for that, and that retains the whitish colour underneath. Now actually it is removing some of the yellow I put on earlier. So depending what sort of look you want to create, you can add or subtract these powders and go for something slightly different. So I'm wiping most of the colour off, and that has even taken off some of the yellow from earlier. And that has now put a wash into all the crevices. And this is the reverse of dry brushing, which highlights the bits that stand out. A wash gets into all the crevices and picks out the detail in there. I think that looks quite nice. So I'm going to continue with that. Now I really like that look. I think that is quite different. I've created a white colour locomotive with some very interesting dry brushing and weathering techniques. But what I'm going to do now, before I spray that with enamel varnish, is add some matte coat rusty streaks. So for this, I'm going to put a little bit of matte coat into my mixing bowl there. And I'm going to get a rusty colour weathering powder and just turn that into a paint, a liquid paste. Now I could put that on straight onto the model now, but it will be quite thick and probably not what you want. In fact, that's now going to damage and remove some of the powders I put on there, so you have to redo that in a minute. But what I'm going to do with this is just add little rusty streaks here and there, and literally going to paint them on. And this creates just a finer sort of detail. Now mix some black and some rust into the matte coat. I'm taking most of that paint off. I'm going to attempt to dry brush some streaks onto the front. There we are. And that just creates some aerodynamic damage, replicating damage to the front of the loco. I think that looks quite nice. And you apply this with a lightly loaded brush. So there you go, the aerodynamic front end has taken the brunt of the things that have hit the loco. That indicates a little bit of speed from this machine. Damage those front aspects too, since they would also weather up and get dirtier, wouldn't they? It can be what you want though, because this is a science fiction machine and so anything goes. I'm now going to fix all that with a matte varnish spray. There is an original Fearless dry brushed in silver over black, and here is the white weathered body shell using Humbrol weathering powders.